Oh, hello.
Not far wrong.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Ireland AM on Virgin Media One and Virgin Media Player. It is Tuesday, the 24th of October.
Yes, it is. Great to have you with us. We have a busy old show lined up this morning. We are talking everything from the term rejuvenile, who knows what that is, to alternative teaching styles. Let's find out a bit more.
So what do you think rejuvenile is?
Juvenile.
Doing it again? I think that's what it is. We are going to explain it all at 7:45.
Plus, a little bit later on, we're going to speak to the Sligo school who let the students make the rules. So, would you have loved that when you were younger? Do you think that children are responsible enough to manage their own learning? How does it even work with exams or whatever else? Let us know what you think of it. 0896 111 111.
Because we were talking earlier on, if you decided to go outside and watch YouTube for 4 hours.
Well, that's what you'd
be. That's what you'd. Is that what you'd be doing?
Absolutely.
We'd love to hear from you on that one. Alan.
Yes.
Coming up this morning, darling.
Hello. Well, the skin nerd Jennifer Rock, she's going to be with us with the latest skin trends from rice water soaks to banana peel strokes. Do you know what that is?
I haven't got a clue.
Well, there we'll find out later on. But Paul Knapp is here because we're speaking about food. Now, I'm assuming with all these pumpkins around, you're going to be doing something with pumpkins this morning.
Well, how did you guess?
How did you guess?
How did you
They're
guess?
all here.
They are, yeah. So this morning we're making kind of a spooky treat. So what we've got is we've got a roasted pumpkin flesh, spinach and black beetle, kind of a Dopiaza, which is 2 onions. So we've got black beans, we call them the black beetles, and then we've got the roasted pumpkin flesh. So we've got
I was
lots
going to
of
say, do you really have black beetles?
No. So all that coming up at 8:45.
OK, looking forward to that. Now, Deric is meeting monsters in Meath this morning. What spooky surprises have you got in store for us, Deric?
Yes, Al, we certainly are on the hunt for monsters here in Meath. Weather-wise out there this morning, it is a drying set to start following all that rain, and boy, did it bucket down in some spots yesterday. A return to brighter spells, albeit some showers from northern and eastern areas, but pretty decent out there for the 24th of the month. Now, Emmer Park, Ashburn in County Meath is where we're at this morning, and given the fact that we're in the run-up to Halloween, coming up later on this morning, we're off to visit the Freaky Forest, the Ghoulish Graveyard, and we're popping in to the Professor's Lab. I wonder what's going on there. Anyway, lots of spooky fun coming your way here from the Royal County right across the morning.
Ooh. Great stuff, Deric.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
Thank you, Ger, and a very good morning, broadcasting live here from Ashburn in County Meath. Coming up over the coming hours, we're going to be taking you on a spooky tour of the Royal County, so that's all to come towards the back end of the show, so do hang with us for that. Now, we're getting past 7 o'clock here together. Let's take a look weather-wise at how it's shaping up with Owen Kelly with us on cameras once again and following all that rain, and boy, did it bucket down. Yes, there's some heavy floods through parts of Kilkenny, Wexford and into County Waterford out there this morning. You'll be glad to hear it's a much more settled, a much more drier start out. There's been albeit showers once again through parts of Tip into Waterford, Wexford, Kilkenny, into parts of Dublin, into Northern Ireland as well through northern spots, but elsewhere it is holding mainly settled now in almost calm conditions. Now, right across today, once again, it is that mixture of some showers and sunshine where that rain does hit slightly heavy for a time, but certainly those brighter spells and in fact sunnier spells winning out as the day goes on. So good for a bit of soakage out there this Tuesday. Top values of around 10 to 14 degrees. And then into tonight, it'll be dry, calm and clear for most areas. Because of those clearing skies, we will see some passing mist, a little bit of fog as well rearing its head as we work our way into your Wednesday morning. And quite a cold, quite a chilly night in store with values back to around 2 to 6 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here in a dry and settled Ashburn and County Meath at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers, which are dominated by one harrowing story. We'll start with the Examiner. Its headline: Life in jail for anti-gay double killer. Yusuf Palani, the 23-year-old who targeted gay men he courted on a dating app, was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of Aidan Moffat and Michael Snee, and to a concurrent 20-year sentence for causing serious harm to Anthony Burke, whom he stabbed.
Mystery of €357,000 in cash found at double killer's home. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Mystery surrounds the origins of the cash found in the home of double murderer Yusuf Palani. The money was discovered by the Gardaí during a 5-day search of the killer's Sligo home.
The Irish Times leads with cash find sparked fear Sligo murders were terror-related. Anti-terrorism Gardaí worked with overseas security agencies to determine if Yusuf Palani was engaged in terrorism. The presence of more than €350,000 in cash in Palani's home raised fears he had been paid by an Islamic terrorism group to carry out the attacks.
I would have kept killing is the top story on the Daily Mail. The double killer was motivated by his hatred of gay men, and he told detectives he would have continued to kill if Gardaí had not stopped him.
The Mirror, the Sun and the Star all lead with that same story.
And the Herald goes with Gardaí nab escaped crime spree suspect. A manhunt for a dangerous criminal involved in a crime spree after escaping an open prison ended on Sunday night after he was arrested following a high-speed Garda chase in which a patrol car was rammed.
Horrible headlines for the family of Michael Snee and Aidan Moffat, and of course Anthony Burke, who's been left with those injuries after those horrible attacks. So we're just thinking about them this morning. It's truly horrible. We'll be back with you on Ireland AM in just a minute.
You're very welcome back. The extreme flooding caused by Storm Babette has seen major destruction in many parts of the country, leaving businesses and homeowners in absolute distress.
Now, we saw more yesterday, of course, in Kilkenny and in Waterford. Here to discuss the flooding and the potential aftermath is political correspondent for the Irish Mirror, Louise Byrne, Met Éireann's Linda Hughes and Middleton business owner Damien O'Brien. Thank you so much for all being here. We really do appreciate it. Linda, if we can just start with you in relation to the coloured warning system, because we're hearing an awful lot of people talk about weather fatigue and all of these warning systems that go on all the time and no one's paying attention. What's the situation with it?
Okay, so as most people will know, we have 3 different levels of warning. So a yellow warning is the lowest level, so that generally isn't going to pose much of a threat to the wider area of a county, but under certain circumstances, like certain activities or locations, there might be an impact. So for people just to be aware that there's going to be some unsettled weather that may cause an issue. The next one is an orange warning. So that's going to be for more infrequent weather. It's for dangerous weather conditions that could pose threat to life and property. And then a red level is the highest level. That's a very rare weather phenomena that will cause widespread damage and threat to life and property as well. So for both an orange and red warning, really, they are dangerous weather conditions. Both should be taken very seriously, and any advice that's given by Met Éireann or local authorities to be taken very seriously for both of those.
Linda, on that, because we know certainly down in certain areas of Cork, Middleton, for instance, there was an orange weather warning, which obviously would raise concern, but not to the level of flooding that we saw. Like, what was the reason, you think, for the flooding and the bursting of the banks? And should it have been a red warning looking back on it?
Okay, so when we're deciding on issuing warnings and the level that we're going to issue, if we're going to issue an orange warning, we're expecting certain thresholds to be met across a wide area of a county. If it's going to be a red warning, it's going to be red level phenomenon over a widespread area. So the nearest location that we have observations for is Ballincurrig, nearest to Middleton, and that recorded 70.4 millimetres of rain during the period. So that does actually fall under the orange level criteria. So what happened in Middleton was, unfortunately, a set of circumstances that combined to exacerbate the situation. So there was a large amount of rainfall during a short period of time. There was also the problem with high river levels and high tide, and they all combined at the same time. So basically, tidal lock occurred, so there was nowhere for the water to go, basically. So that's how the flooding occurred in that particular location. Yeah. So it was a localised event, unfortunately, that occurred at that time.
And I know Met Éireann are reviewing the system, specifically conditions required for a yellow warning, because they're going to become more frequent as due to climate change. But Damien, if we can go to you, you own 2 boutiques with your wife in Middleton, Flamingo and Fox & Co. What's the situation with your shops?
Well, as it is today, Muireann, we're closed. We will be closed for another few weeks while we put the shops back together. The events as they unfolded on Wednesday, we were open for business. We're aware that there had been an amber warning, but hadn't been given any specific kind of notifications of the impact of that to Middleton specifically. It was, I guess, my wife Lara was in Flamingo and called. I had been in Cove about 20 minutes away when I got the call to say that there was water on the street outside her shop, which wouldn't normally be an area that we would see any flooding. And by the time I got to Middleton, it was almost too late, really. I had kind of gone into Flamingo and had moved 150 metres up the road to Fox & Co. So we're closed right now. We're trying to assess the damage fully and the impact that has. Our staff have been fantastic. They've been in helping us, and the community has been unbelievably supportive to us. Thursday and Friday, the whole clear out and getting things cleaned up started straight away Thursday morning. Look, we couldn't be kind of happier with the kind of support we're getting so far. And on the back of that, I'm sure that goodwill will help every business in Middleton once we all reopen and get back on our feet trading.
Well, Damien, like we've heard about the community spirit and everybody coming together to help each other in this. But in terms of the stock in your shops, the cost to you, because we know you can't get flood insurance. Listen, how difficult is it for you going into Christmas, which will be the busiest season of the year, and the frustration in a sense that you weren't really given a warning that this could potentially happen? Like, where does it leave you going forward?
Yeah, look, that's a fair point. Particularly in the men's, slightly more than ladies' fashion, most of the trade is done in the last 3 months of the year, running up to Christmas. That means that we have stock coming into our storerooms from late August, stock which we would have ordered from January and February from our sales reps. That goes through the manufacturing process and arrives at our door in these weeks. Trying to replace that is going to be difficult. But having said that, we do have stock that we can sell, but a lot of that stock was in the storeroom in cardboard boxes waiting to be added to our till system. So once the water had come in, that was fairly badly affected. So look, getting the door open is one thing, having enough stock to sell is the next thing, and replacing that it's going to be a challenge. So it is very frustrating. It's in multiples of thousands of stock value that we lost. It's this time of the year. If it happened in January, it would have been difficult for us to kind of manage, but it would have been far less stock affected. On the warning side of things, I'm no different to many homes and businesses in Middleton, where we were working on this amber warning, but there was no specific details given on the impact it could have.
Well, the acting chief of Cork County Council, Valerie O'Sullivan, she has said that no agency could have prevented the flooding in Middleton because it was 3 feet of water in 8 minutes. They cleared out the drains. They need the flood relief system that cost 46 million. Now, Louise, thank you for joining us as well. There is obviously the government are talking about this fund for people who were affected by Storm Babette. It was 40,000, 70,000. Now we're talking about up to €100,000 available for businesses who have been affected. What's going on?
Yeah, that's right. So this was discussed by the 3 coalition leaders last night, the Taoiseach, the Taoiseach and Eamon Ryan, and they were really late, to be honest. It was close to 9:30, I think, by the time this was all decided, working through a proposal from Enterprise Minister Simon Coveney. And like you said, we've heard a number of different numbers over the last couple of days about how much of a payment would be available to business owners, like we have just heard, who have been devastated by this. So what Simon Coveney is asking his cabinet ministers to approve this morning is 2 different schemes. So you have the existing scheme, they're looking to bring that up to 20,000, but then in addition to that, you're going to have a special exceptional circumstance humanitarian relief scheme, and under that, businesses will be able to get payments up to €100,000, and that is going to be administered through the Red Cross. Now, I suppose what we're waiting to hear over the course of the day is the exact details of that scheme, how people apply for that, how quickly quickly people can get it, because I think that's really going to be the important bit here, is getting it quickly. The other thing that I believe is being looked at is some kind of a low-cost, low-interest scheme for business owners to be able to rebuild up their stock. That would be done through Microfinance Ireland. And I think the main question that people are going to have today is how quickly can we get this money, and what is the government actually going to do going forward? Because we do know we need that flood relief in Middleton. This is certainly not the first time this has happened, perhaps not to this extent, but I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the government once they help these businesses to actually deal with the issue going forward as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As we heard from Dame, this is such a busy period for a lot of shops and businesses in that area,
But
and
I'm
to have their
assuming
doors closed.
for you, Damien, that's what's important, the flood relief scheme. If you're going to continue being a business, that you're like, we need this in place.
Yeah, look, any business is going to be nervous about spending money on revamping their shop and putting stock back on the floor without knowing a couple of things. One would be, in the immediate term, some sort of report that indicates what went wrong. It's helpful to hear from hearing the stats on the amount of rainfall that we had in a short period. But I would more welcome at the moment some sort of report coming within 5 to 6 weeks, where you look, if there are 5 factors that contributed to this, that 3 or 2 may have been unavoidable, yet there could have been lessons learned from 2 of those factors that we could have some sort of assurance, you know, like a no blame culture where we understand that a couple of things were learned and it won't happen again, because with climate change, this is probably going to be more frequent. On the longer term, flood relief definitely needs to come. I've been looking at other towns where they've implemented that. Probably one of the fastest ones that was implemented in the last number of years is in Clonakilty. From rubber stamp, bearing in mind we're not there yet, the planning process still has to go, but from an approved process that took 5 years. It was up and running in 2021, but it wasn't approved until 2016. So that's a worry.
Something that we are seeing, the government are taking this very seriously, and with climate change going the way it is, it's going to be something we're going to hear a lot more about in the future. Listen, Damien, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hopefully you get the doors open in Flamingo and Fox & Co. very soon. Linda Hughes with Muireann, thank you for joining us as well this morning. Give us an update. And Louise, you're going to hang around for the news headlines coming up very shortly as well. Time for a short break. We'll be back here very shortly.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
Yes, sure, lots of creepy crawlies here in Ashburn in County Meath. We'll give you a quick update on the weather, and following all that rain we had, yes, a much more improved and much more settled start. You'll be glad to hear. So out there this morning, still some showers through parts of Ulster in across the southeast, through Leinster as well, but elsewhere holding pretty steady now, with some nice bright spells pulling through as the morning progresses. Right across the day, in fact, it is that mixture once again of sunshine and showers. Slightly heavy at times in terms of that rain, but elsewhere certainly that sunshine winning out as the day goes on. Tap valleys of around 10 to 14 degrees in almost calm conditions, and into tonight, dry, steady and settled for most years. Because of those clearer skies, we will see some patchy mist, a taste of fog as well, feeding its way into your Wednesday morning, with overnight lows on the fresher, chillier and cooler side, back to 2 to 6 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now. We'll be back again live with all our spooky friends at 8.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
Welcome back. Now, as you just heard in the news, the government face into another week of dull debates about health service funding, with HSE Chief Executive Bernard Gloucester and Department of Health Secretary General Robert Watt appearing before the Oireachtas Health Committee. That's happening just later on this morning.
So to discuss that story and other stories in the paper this morning is political correspondent with the Irish Mirror, Louise Byrne. Good morning to you, Louise, again.
Hello.
Louise, so give us an update. This is going to happen today. Obviously, we're seeing a lot about this, the HSE not getting the money that they need. We know they get an extraordinary amount of money as it is. Does it look like they're going to get more?
Well, I suppose this is the big debate, really, and I think this has really been the big story of the budget. Did the Department of Health get enough money? Are they spending over their budget, or are they underfunded in the first place? So I guess later today, 10 o'clock, Bernard Gloucester and Robert Watt, who we always loved in Oireachtas Health Committee because he's an interesting character, but the two of them are in front of TDs and senators, and basically what Robert Watt is going to say to them is, I understand that, you know, he accepts that there is overruns, he accepts that there needs to be better financial management, and I think the health service now is really nailing down into what that can be. Bernard Gloucester, we have heard him over the last couple of weeks. He has not been shy on this at all. He's been very forthright, saying that he does not believe the HSE has gotten enough money in the budget, that he believes that going on the current budget, that there could actually be harm caused to patients next year, which is quite a frightening thought. So I think there will be quite intense scrutiny of the Department of Health and the HSE today, but really the TDs and the politicians and the opposition's axe to grind is not really with them, it's more so with the government, because the Department of Health and the HSE, they didn't decide their budget, it was the government that signed off on their budget. So it'd be interesting to see what they say, but really it's not their problem to solve in a lot of ways.
It is 22 billion where that budget is in the first place. And we sit here and can go, sure, listen, lads, can you not just tighten the old belt? But we don't know anything about it. If you work within the HSE, we'd love to hear from you. 0896 111 111.
Or where is the money going? You know,
per
that
capita.
is the question. Where is the money going and how efficiently is it being used? I think that's the big question. And that comes down to Robert Watt. You know, he's meant to be the person in charge of determining that. But we will find out more on that. Let's move on to a story by Jack Horgan-Jones in the Times this morning. So new rules are going to support tenants to match bid on open market. This is interesting.
Yeah, so this has been a long time coming. This is something that Darragh O'Brien is bringing to Cabinet this morning. And we know that when the eviction ban was lifted last March or April, the government said, well, we are going to put measures in place to ensure that tenants can buy the home that they're renting if their landlord is selling. Now, it is now September, October, so we've been waiting quite a while for this. But basically, the crux of Darragh O'Brien's plan is that if a landlord is selling their home, well, then a tenant has 90 days to make a bid. If they are outbid, then they have another 90 days to try and match that bid. If it then, Jack Horgan-Jones is reporting this morning, if it then comes to pass that...
90 days, so you have to wait 3 months?
Yeah, so it's...
And then another 3 months
and then
on top
another,
of that if they want
so it's
to
quite
match
a
the bid.
long, drawn-out process, but what Jack is reporting this morning is that if a landlord accepts a lower bid from, say, someone else, a third-party private buyer, then the tenant can chase them for €20,000 through the RTB. Now, the big question is, when is this going to come in? I was trying to ask my sources last night, you know, we've already had this 6-7 months, we've been waiting on this. Is there any indication when this will come in? And the answer that I got is it has to make its way through the Oireachtas, it has to make its way through the processes. And I said, so how long is a piece of string? And I was told, yeah, basically.
My question is, why would someone who is selling a house accept a lower bid? Do you know what I mean? If a tenant is going, well, I'm going to offer you as much. Huh?
For a quick sale, they might take a little bit less. Or even, like, as opposed to waiting, if you have to wait 3 months to find out whether they'll match the bid and then they match it and then...
But then you accept a lower one. Why not just go to the tenants? All right, you know, you give me the lower bid and we'll just get this all done really quickly. Like, there's a way to get it done as quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, the government has obviously done their research on this, and there's obviously, I'm sure we'll find out later, and I'm sure we will be asking Minister O'Brien at some stage today why these parameters were decided upon. But, I mean, it also raises the question, can a tenant living in a house, can they afford to buy the house that their landlord is selling? And I think that's what it comes back to as well.
Is this only for people who are on the HAP payments?
No.
OK, no.
It's absolutely everyone. Love to know what you think about that. How are you finding getting a house at the moment? 0896 111 111. It's fun, isn't it?
And if you are a landlord, and would you be selling before this comes in? Because it might take away a lot of stress from them as well.
But why can't you just sell to the person who's in situ for the same as the private buyer? Anyway, sorry, I'll go off on one and I'll stop. Anyway, let's move on to something else. This is migrant housing.
Yeah, exactly. So the Irish Examiner was reporting yesterday that Cabinet were to consider plans that would say Ukrainian refugees who arrive here, that they are in state accommodation for 3 months and then they have to move on either to private rented accommodation or to a home offered through the department's Offer a Home scheme. Now, this was going to the leaders' meeting last night, the same that discussed the flooding relief, and there was real ambiguity last night about whether or not this would go to Cabinet. But the Irish Examiner, again, reporting this morning that a lot of government sources actually expressing concerns and expressing doubt upon whether this is actually feasible. We know the state of the rental market, we know the state of the housing market. Are you putting people in a situation where they're not going to be able to rent a property? Are they going to be able to find somewhere to live? Or, as one source told Ciara Phelan in the Examiner this morning, are you going to be potentially adding towards our homelessness figures, which we know are already off the charts? So, an interesting proposal proposal. Unsure if it's going to Cabinet today. We'll find out later. But I think it's going to be quite a difficult one for the government to navigate. They're saying that this is what is done in other European countries. And like other European countries, Ireland also has a housing problem. But
yeah, but it is exactly like a lot of the EU countries. The maximum stay is 90 to 180 days of state-funded accommodation, and then it is out. But I mean, we're hearing exactly how can you buy a house, how can you rent a house? It's
I'm
extremely
9 months trying to rent a house. 9 months trying to find a house.
difficult
Can't do
at
it.
the minute.
Mad.
Listen, let us know what you think of that. 0896 111 111. Get in touch with anything that we have discussed this morning. We would love to hear from you. Louise Byrne from the Irish Mirror, thank you so much for joining us.
Louise.
Now, after the break, we're going to enjoy this. We're going to talk all things nostalgia and why we take comfort in things from our childhoods.
Talk to you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, the term rejuvenile.
We use it. We call Tommy Bow this every day.
Go away, you're rejuvenile. Literally, there's a sound as soon as we say his name. It has been used to describe
See, this is what we're talking about.
Childlike things. Something many of us can relate to. Whether you've kept an old teddy bear or you rewatch your favourite childhood movies or cartoons.
Now, here to discuss the term and the nostalgia around childhood is psychotherapist Coleman Noctor. Good morning to you, Coleman.
Good morning. Hi.
And I mean, we were talking about this yesterday and we were kept using rejuvenile and being sort of maybe a bit silly. But we all love to be a bit silly at times, don't we? All adults like to be a bit silly, like makes us happy.
It is.
Look at Tommy Bow throwing stuff at me like this.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to return to the carefreeness of childhood, you know, almost like it brings us back there. So nostalgia is oftentimes triggered by a sound. Like Christmas is a very classic nostalgia time because we go back to it. But originally nostalgia was seen as a mental illness. It was nostalgia is the pain from home. So it was homesickness. So a lot of the soldiers in the Swedish army would have been diagnosed with nostalgia because they missed home so much. And then over the years it turned into a kind of a positive thing. But it's almost like the reverse of trauma in many ways. Trauma regenerates uncomfortable feelings, whereas nostalgia oftentimes comes to these very positive feelings.
Where did this term come from then? The rejuvenile.
Well, rejuvenile is just a kind of I suppose, a hybrid term that kind of comes out of it now and again. But it's about a return to a carefree, more like obviously we're all burdened with responsibilities of mortgages and jobs and all that sort of stuff. So an escapism into something. But marketeers have really jumped on this, you know, from the point of view of advertisements, Throwback Thursday, you know, all these sorts of things. You can see them. You watch TikTok or something, there's a picture of an old cassette or a Walkman or something, and it brings you back to the kind of 90s. And
our old toys here.
So these things, they recreate an association with being a juvenile. So the rejuvenile is just a regressive return to that. But it's a fairly carefree and positive association.
A positive association if you're sitting around with your mates and you decide to sit down and play a game of Monopoly like you used to. But there's a cynical side, obviously, for marketeers going, we can make a quick buck off these people who are miserable. Let's make them think that everything's fine.
Yeah, well, you see, obviously see grown men buying Pac-Man arcade games and all these things from their childhood and paying quite a lot of bucks for it, you know, from that point of view. But it is about re-establishing, like all the Christmas ads will be nostalgia based. They all basically try
back to your childhood.
Back to your childhood, back to the family home, that sort of stuff. Because it's a very powerful emotion. You know, the idea of the nostalgia can bring back, like say for example, if you were on holidays in your 20s and a song that you were in Ibiza for comes on, it actually can, it opens a door to feeling. So the emotionality of that time comes back. Then you got to cope with the fact that it's past now. So from the point of view of, does the nostalgia just leave you with that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling, or can it can oftentimes be followed by a sad thing that, oh my, and look, reflecting on my life now is so different to what it was, and we can kind of lament the gap that's happened.
It's like when we're all thinking about it, thinking about our youth, or thinking the nostalgia of it, it's like blurred and it's all nice and fuzzy, but when you actually sit down and really think about it, wasn't that great? I didn't have a great time in school, but I look back on it now and I'm going, school was all right. But when I actually think of it, no, it was a bit crap.
And that's the power of nostalgia. It's a selective process. So you only pick, people will oftentimes say, oh, I remember skipping out on the road and playing all that. But they forget that there was like overcrowding, there was poverty, there was, you know, high levels of domestic violence in homes at that time. You know, so from the point of view of we have a very selective recovery of memories, and oftentimes it is the more powerfully strong memories that are either positive or negative are the ones that stand out. But our childhood in general, we've very little recall of it. You know, if you were to ask about a day in primary school when you were 9, you'd probably really struggle to bring up anything that happened in that time, except something maybe exceptional, like a Christmas or a particular day in school that was really good or something like that.
There's this movement at the moment, and it is let children be children, because obviously there's an awful lot of competitive nature, like watching games and parents shouting on the sidelines at 8-year-olds. I mean, just let them have a laugh. If they want to cartwheel it into the goal, let them cartwheel it into the goal. Is that something, though, that for adults, like one of the best things I had this summer, we all sat around, the whole family with the kids from the age of 8 all the way up to people in their 70s playing cards. Like we did that for hours and hours and hours, and it was great fun, and we just chilled out and we relaxed, and it did feel quite innocent and lovely.
It's crucially important. It's something I'm banging on about all the time. We need to create opportunities for relationship, for real relationship, for community, for that sense of togetherness. And I don't believe that teenagers have that opportunity now. I don't believe that they have the same opportunity to hang out, you know, or just be, or sit in a green. You know, group of teenagers sitting in a green, they're kind of accused of being antisocial now or something, or there's a fear about it. So we drive them online into these different, and the power of relationship is what drives us. Relationships are the things that can devastate us, but they're also the things that give us the greatest amount of joy. So you have to create, and relationships over a game of Scrabble or a game of cards, you know, it's much more than the cards. What comes from is not, you probably won't remember who won the game or not, but you'll remember the laugh that you have, or who said what, or, you know, and it's the interaction.
It felt really important, like no one wanted to go anywhere. And teenagers just stayed. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and again, but that has to be created, you know. But we have to have those opportunities, and that's the thing. I would think it's a much more of a challenge in family life now to get everyone even together in the one room.
To do it. But then, would you recommend it, Coleman? Because we're looking at these there. We're playing Twister and all the games, the Cluedo and stuff like that. Would you say to people, try and get your family away from the TV and from the screens, and buy a game and try and make an hour an evening and just sit together and have that? And what psychologically will that do for everybody?
100%. I mean, you create fun. You need a prop for it. Oftentimes, it's very hard to just create fun if you're sitting in a room. But a game of Twister, I mean, that's hilarious when it gets going. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily the competitiveness or who's winning, it's the interaction that takes place. But if you don't facilitate that for children, then they're not going to have that opportunity, or for teenagers. Do you know what I mean? So the idea of, you need someone to take the initiative to kind of say, let's start this, let's do this.
Like that, Coleman.
That's a perfect example of how to create joy. And look at Muireann, she's so happy there.
I love that you went. Normally it's me that's going to say, oh my God.
I love the Allen's first thing to do was to protect you.
To run! Leave Muireann behind.
Guys, last time you had a great time with your family. We are a family here. We'd love to hear from you what it is that you do. 0896 111
Do you go around frightening people all the time?
Oh, God, Coleman Noctor, you always make the best fun in studio when you come. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Talk to you in a second. Bye. Thanks, Tommy. Cheers. Lord. Welcome back to Ireland AM. Coming up this hour, we've got a school that teaches in incredibly alternative ways, plus the latest social media skincare craze.
Yes, coming up next, we're going to be talking to members of the Sligo School who promote alternative education by allowing students to choose their own curriculum.
Yes.
I
So
love that.
we're going to explain more, but we'd love to hear from you whether you are involved. It's a Sudbury school, whether you're involved in something like that, or you're like, no, children need structure. 0896 111 111. And the skin nerd Jennifer Rock is here with the latest skin trends. And are we using a face mask with bananas today, Jen?
There's so much going on between castor oil, bananas, rice water. I mean, it leaked all over my car. I have so much to share with you.
Oh, rice water. water. Does it do a good cleaning job for the car?
I'll let you know later, but we're figuring out Alan's
Just
face first.
what we need. All right, thank you very much for that, Jennifer.
Thank you. And we've got a little skeleton in the kitchen this morning. He's very thin. He's not that thin. How are you doing, Alan?
I'm grand, yeah. Now, Jennifer just loves coming in and like, oh, what can we do to Alan this week?
Oh, yeah,
it's
there's
always
some good
this.
ones for you
Yeah,
this
yeah.
week.
It's a what can we do to Alan this week? Now, Paul Knapp is joining us in the kitchen this morning. We have some pumpkins here, so it's a pumpkin soup.
It's a pumpkin stew. Pumpkin curry. So what we've got is it's actually called pumpkin and black bean with spinach. So we're going to kind of do a little spooky twist. So it's pumpkin flesh with the black beans, which we're going to turn into kind of like black beetles just for the kids and stuff like that. And then we're just going to kind of in a curry. So it's kind of a Central Asian curry.
I tell you, it smells beautiful. Tommy, you looking forward to that?
Looking forward to that. The black beetles in particular now add a bit of crunch. Love that, Paul. Thank you very much. Now, Deric has been getting the party started this morning in Ashburn with creepy creatures joining you, Deric. What's going on? Oh, they're not creepy creatures.
No. Yes, Tommy, welcome down here to Emma Park in County Meath. Yeah! We have got all the guys here from St Andrew's National School, all in second class, and I believe we have lots of friends here joining us right across the board because we are heading to the freaky forest. Dracula, what's happening here this morning?
Here today, my friends, we are in search of treasure on the tricky trail. I hope you all have your peeper eyes out because the treasure is very well hidden, and we hope you can find it all to find the big prize.
All right, we'll be having lots of fun here in County Meath right across the line. But for now, a big cheer, guys! Back to studio.
How good is Dracula?
So good.
Love it.
Oh my God. Yes.
Very good. I'm booking to go there.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
Yes, Joe, we're live here from Helga's house on the tricky trail here in Ashburn in County Meath. We're heading off with all our new pals to the freaky forest into the next hour, so do hang with us for that. Now, we're getting past 8 o'clock here together. In terms of weather, you'll be glad to hear it is a mainly dry and settled start out there for many years. Now, we are seeing showers through parts of the south and across southeastern regions through parts of Leinster. Well scattered at this stage, but we will see an improving picture now as we edge our way through your breakfast time in those light southeasterly winds. Now, right across today, it is that mixture of sunshine and showers. Rain slightly heavy for a time where it does hit, but elsewhere, in fact, a return to good, decent weather out there today. And in fact, some nice soakage with some plenty of sunshine on the cards right across today, especially the further west, northwest we go. Top temperatures out there this Tuesday, fresher and cooler at 10 to 14 degrees. And then into tonight, it looks like it will be mainly dry and settle. Again, we're going to see almost calm conditions with some passing mist, a little bit of fog as well, feeding its way into tomorrow morning with overnight lows there back to 2 to 7 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here in Ashburn and County Meath at the moment. We'll be back again live at 8:35.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers, which are dominated by one story, starting with the Examiner. Its headline, Life in Jail for Anti-Gay Double Killer. Yusuf Balani, the 23-year-old who targeted gay men he courted on a dating app, was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of Aidan Moffat and Michael Snee, and to a concurrent 20-year sentence for causing serious harm to Anthony Burke, whom he stabbed.
Mystery of €357,000 in cash found at double killer's home. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Mystery surrounds the origins of the cash found hidden in the home of double murderer Yusuf Balani. The money was discovered by the Gardaí during a 5-day search of the killer's Sligo home.
The Irish Times leads with cash finds sparked fears Sligo murders were terror-related. Anti-terrorism Gardaí worked with overseas security agencies to determine if Yusuf Balani was engaged in terrorism. The presence of over €350,000 in cash in Balani's home raised fears he had been paid by an Islamic terrorism group to carry out the murders.
I would have kept killing is the top story on the Daily Mail. The double killer was motivated by his hatred of gay men, and he told detectives he would continue to kill if Gardaí had not stopped him.
The Mirror, The Sun and The Star all lead with that same story.
The Herald goes with Gardaí nab escape crime spree suspect. A manhood for a dangerous criminal involved in a crime spree after escaping an open prison ended on Sunday night after he was arrested following a high-speed Garda chase in which a patrol car was rammed. Pretty frightening headlines there this morning. We spoke about that story this morning, but we also spoke about this new scheme that seems to be going through government at the minute. Can you explain it to me?
No details.
So it's basically around
very little detail about it.
Owners of housing, of rental accommodation, if you're trying to sell them, you have to give first refusal to the people who are in the house.
Who are in situ in the house. Then it's saying they can have 3 months to come up with the money, and then another 3 months if someone else has offered, and they've got to be able to match that. Otherwise, there could be a €20,000 penalty that the landlord will have to pay. But I have to say, it's very scant. We don't know if the tenants, if they can't get the mortgage together, will they still have to be offered the house? We don't know any of this, but this is something that's going through cabinet.
The devil's in the detail on this
exactly.
as well. And listen, it sounds like a good idea, but in practice, actually putting it into place, I'd say it's a lot more muddy, a lot more difficult.
Know what? I think for landlords, that's going to maybe get landlords to go, do you know what, I'm not going to go through that process, I'm going to just sell now.
Sell it now. That's what I said earlier.
Like, you know, because like, you have to wait 3 months for your tenants to decide whether they can come up with the mortgage or... See, this is the type of thing we don't know.
Like, if you can't come up with the mortgage, do you have to wait? Anyway.
We do have messages on it. Billy said, we are selling our rental house on the back of the DCC under the tenant in situ scheme. The process started last February. Apart from 1 phone call and 2 emails from the DCC, we have had no other communication for them. As there is no estate agent involved, we have no one to ring. So right now we're clueless as to what's going on and where the process is, i.e. whether the sale is agreed or where we're at.
That's shocking.
So this is the kind of messiness.
February, yeah.
That if people want a quick sale and then...
And this is what we needed to do. We needed council buying houses again, and we thought that it was going to be a much quicker process. That's bad.
And then for landlords getting the blame, myself and my partner were landlords with a house each. We had, before we met each other, we both sold the houses as renting was so much hassle. With rent not being paid, we had to go to court to try and get people to pay their rent. That's why landlords are getting out, and the landlords seem to always be to blame.
Yeah, and listen, we know there's a housing crisis out there. We are trying to stop, and the government trying to put things in place to stop small landlords leaving the system. But you know, when you're seeing stuff like this, it's extremely difficult.
It's not always bad. Like I love our landlord. He's absolutely lovely. We have a great relationship with him. And he's, you know, a lot of people have good relationships with their landlords.
There was also, you were chatting to Coleman Noctor earlier on about, what's it, juvenile or...
Rejuvenile.
So basically acting like a kid. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just going back to sort of...
And
we were talking about
mature for my
playing games, like getting back to board games with your children, playing board games.
Tommy was just sitting there a minute ago going, I can't wait until the kids are old enough to play Monopoly and I can cheat.
Well, here we go. John said, we play board games on the build-up to Christmas with the 2 teenage kids. We also play chess with our youngest son, who is 14. And I look forward to that.
Love that.
Every Christmas we do it. We still do that. We get our gang back together on the road and we all go playing board games.
We'd love to. What's your
right.
So we'd love to know, do you actually sit down and play board games? What is nostalgia in your house? Would you like to get... There you go. What is nostalgia in your house? Would you like to actually do that, sit around? Because you were saying you just all of his playing cards was brilliant.
Oh, so much fun. 0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you now. After the break, we chat to members of the Sligo School who favour self-directed learning and democracy when it comes to their students' education. So there's no timetable, there's no curriculum. It's whatever they want to do.
Is there mayhem?
Amazing. More on that, just a few minutes. You're very welcome back. Now, this is an interesting one. So, Sligo Sudbury School is one of a number of self-directed democratic schools where the children can pick their own subjects and choose their own timetable.
Here to tell us more about this alternative education process is founder of Sligo Sudbury, Gail Nagel, student Vasilisa Ostrokova, and parent Bob Kelly. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. Gail, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
We've said a lot of words there about Sudbury schools and democratic schooling. Break it down for us. Is there a timetable? Is there a curriculum? What is taught at this school?
Yeah, so fundamentally, no, it's not. It's a place for children to direct their own learning. So there's no imposed curriculum. There's no top-down imposed rules. Democratic schools are governed essentially by the students and the staff together. So we make all the rules and the agreements together as a community. And the children can follow whatever learning pursuits they're interested in learning at the time. Once they don't infringe or violate the rules of the school, they can go about their day freely doing whatever they need to do.
So you are traditionally a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something, did you have an issue with the education system and what was available on that route that made you think, you know what, I think we need, in this day and age, we need to look at an alternative way of doing it?
Absolutely. I worked in education for a good number of years, and I was working as a teaching principal then in a school in Dublin. And while I could see that our education system suited a certain type of learner, there was a lot of people I felt that were being disadvantaged by the system, and not by teachers. There's amazing people working. Just, you know, different ways of learning, different ways of being, maybe children who are more physical, more active. You know, asking children at 4 and 5 in a junior infant classroom to come in and sit down for long periods of time to focus on maybe reading and writing and other things that just haven't come up as interests for them yet. So we're asking children to do things that they're not necessarily developmentally ready for. And the impact of that is quite considerable. So, yeah, I was really looking for another system that was more flexible, more adaptable, both for individuals and also for our times. You know, times are changing, and I felt like there had to be another way.
We're going to get to you in just a minute, but this is so, because there are obviously some people that the education system and its rigid way of rote learning doesn't suit, and we've known that for years, and hopefully someday we're going to get to a new place that suits everyone. But when you say students make the rules with you in a democratic way, you sit down and have a meeting, what does that mean? Like, what are the rules?
Yeah, there's loads of rules. We have a really long, well, we call them community agreements now rather than, but it started off as being a law book. We have a 16 or a 17-page document. So as things come up in the community and for people, we have discussions about them. We have conversations. If we have a problem with each other, you know, I might be trying to do something one day and you might have an issue with it. So we have a conversation about it. And from those conversations, often rules will emerge. Obviously,
like what would be?
So there might be a rule like, for example, no sitting on the countertops in the kitchen.
Okay.
You know, random things like that.
Okay.
That are things that the community have decided are either from an etiquette point of view or just from an irritation point of view that we've agreed these rules together.
What about,
There's
like,
loads of safety
no
rules
sitting
too.
watching YouTube all day, or would that be allowed?
So yeah, technically, children they can spend a lot of time on screens, and we hugely value the amount of learning and the amount of education that children get from spending time on screens. It's really social as well. A lot of the time they're doing it together in groups. So yeah,
but there's no set time during the day, is there? You can arrive between 10:30 and 12 or something.
So 8:30 to 4:30 we're open, and you can come any time between 8:30 and 10:30. And leave any time between 2:30 and 4:30.
It is fascinating. Vasilisa, from your point of view, you went to normal primary school, first year in secondary school, and halfway through second year you decided that it was during COVID, so it was a kind of a funny period anyway. How do you think that this new way of learning has suited you?
Yeah, it definitely benefited me a lot. Like, I've gained a lot of social skills from it, and it just gave me a whole new perspective. In mainstream school, it would be like a bit hard coming in and doing all the work, and kind of just, it was hard to balance the social and the academic aspect of it. And here I feel like I do get a lot of the social and I can do academic stuff if I want to.
So what does that look like? There's a few teachers in the school, there's 3 traditional teachers and then other people. So Vasilisa, what do you do during the day?
Well, I would usually come in like a bit later, and then I'd go to morning circle.
What time would you go in at?
Like 9, half 9, 10.
To be fair, that's sort of the time I went to school as well. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and then we have morning circle, which is like assembly and mainstream. So everyone just kind of tells you what's going on, any activities that are happening during the day. And then I might look at that and be like, okay, I want to do this and that. Like, there's baking on after morning circle, so I might join that. And there's a few clubs that I'm in. I'm in art club and I'm in book club. So if those meetings are on, I'll go to them as well. Other than that, it's just a lot of like talking to my friends, just reading, just doing something I would do at home usually.
Okay. Do you have to do the junior cert?
No, you can't do juniors. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but you can't do junior cert as an external candidate.
Okay.
No, yeah, because I suppose you're not sitting there doing trigonometry if you don't want to, right?
Yeah.
Or calculus or anything like that. That's not part
Some
of it.
people are doing that, but doing it because they want to.
Because they want to do it. Okay.
And Bob, because you have 2 young boys, 6 and 8, what made you push them towards this? Because I kind of think you know, Vasilisa is older. She's a bit more of an idea what way she wants to go. I know with my kids, like sometimes a bit of routine and a bit of structure, I think, is a good thing for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I would have been, I studied applied social care before I went into the arts, so I would have been exposed to all sorts of different models of education at that time, and I would have visited them in different countries. So I already had an interest. And I wasn't too fond of necessarily the mainstream education system as it is. So it's not so much that I pushed them towards it. We had left Dublin because we couldn't afford to live there anymore. We found ourselves up in Leitrim, and when we heard that the Sudbury School was opening up next to us, it seemed to me like it would be crazy for us not to get them in there. In terms of routine and structure, there is routine and structure in the school. It's just that they themselves choose what it's going to be, and they're well able to do that. They just don't have one imposed on them.
OK, so there's not one imposed, but I suppose there'd be a lot of people sitting at home going, but is there an obligation to learn how to read and write and count? Or is that up to the child to go, I want to learn how to read, but if they don't want to learn how to read, they don't have to learn?
Well, life will sort of obligate them to learn how to read and write and count. And we've got a thing at the moment where, obviously, that's a concern you have coming as somebody who is educated in the mainstream system, and you think, well, if they're not going to learn if they're not made to learn, because that's what it's all based on. But actually, my 6-year-old current has a reading level that's through the roof. Now, the 8-year-old hasn't quite at his speed, but he's catching up. And it's simply because we left enough Beanos lying around, and because he needed to figure out how to get obsidian in Minecraft, so he needed to type it in, and he just did his thing.
So it's choice.
It's absolutely choice. Yeah,
and he was like,
not
oh,
just choice, but he had intrinsic reasons for finding out these things. He needs to count because he wants to know how to buy something with his pocket money. Yeah. He needs to know how to type in obsidian into Minecraft, so he works it out.
Do you think you're potentially putting your kids at a disadvantage? You know, long term, who knows what way this could go for them? So we see education, it might not fit everybody, but it's tried and tested.
Yeah.
Where this is kind of new and you've got 2 young boys.
Yeah.
It's a risk, is it?
It's not a risk, I don't think. I think it's the mainstream education system is tried and tested, but we've ignored its failures for a long time. I think that taking this route with my boys does put them at a disadvantage, but it's not the school that puts them at a disadvantage, it's the way that society is set up to interact with the mainstream education system. But it also puts them at an advantage in that they, as individuals, once they're a little older, will be well capable of tackling that disadvantage themselves and finding ways around it.
I suppose we sit here and we talk an awful lot of time with psychologists and children's brains and how we're not fully developed until we're 25 years old, and that we need to give children what they need and not what they want. That perhaps they're not thinking long term, like we have to. Like, kind of go, OK, well, I need to get a pension because who's going to mind me when I'm 75? Is that a bit of a worry, Gail?
No, well, that's exactly what these schools are set up for. Essentially, what we are creating is environments that children can learn naturally, because what children actually need and what they've been hardwired to do over millennia is play, essentially. And children learn through play. That's how they learn, and it's a evolutionary benefit of childhood, is that what they could do. So if we infringe upon them and if we take away the time that they play, and exactly what you're saying with psychology and development, children are developing massively through play experiences, and more over time we're kind of limiting that amount of time. And as well, we think kind of culturally, oh yeah, but there might be a lot of free play in a junior infant classroom, but by the time they're 9 or 10, there's not so much play anymore. But actually, naturally, you see in a self-directed learning environment like this, children engage in imaginative play all the way up till 10 or 11. That's actually what they are naturally inclined to do. And that's how they're processing, that's how they're learning self-control, self-discipline. It's a massively important developmental stage in childhood.
Basti, I have to ask you, what do you want to do after school?
I'm not quite sure yet, but I do want to get a job and...
Go to college?
Maybe, I'm still thinking about that. But I do like knowing that there's different paths and I don't have necessarily to go to college straight away. And I do like knowing that I'll be supported with every choice that I'll make, both at school and at home.
Absolutely. Listen, we'd love to know what you think with this as well. 0896 111 111. We talk all the time about the struggles within the education system and whether we think it does fit or not, if this is the way to go as well. Gail Nagel, of course, the founder of the Sligo Sudbury School, thank you so much for joining us. Vasilisa Astragova, thank you so much for joining us, and Bob Kelly as well. Brilliant to have you all with us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Cheers.
Do get in touch at 0896 111 111. Still to come this hour, we've got a Halloween hot plate in the kitchen.
Plus, we're talking social media skincare trends with the Skin Nerd. We're going to be lashing loads of stuff on Alan. We'll talk to you very shortly.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates in Virgin Media One.
Yes, Ger, we're having great fun here in the Freaky Forest with all our new friends and all the kids here from St Andrews Currahan National School here in County Meath. We'll give you a quick update on the weather and you'll be glad to hear it's a much more improved and much more settled start out there this morning. Still showers hitting eastern and northern regions out there this morning now in those light southeasterly winds. Now right across today, in fact, sunshine and showers once again, rain heavy at times where it does hit, but elsewhere good sunny spells winning out as the day goes on. Top valleys at 10 to 14 into tonight, mainly dry and calm. Elsewhere we will see some patchy mist and they're fairly rowdy, aren't they? Developing tonight into tomorrow morning with overnight lows on the chilly side back to 2 to 7 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here in County Meath at the moment. We'll be live from the Professor's Lab at 9.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates in Virgin Media One.
This is Alan's favourite bit.
I love getting my face just throw stuff on me every week.
Do you want to hear what we're going to be throwing on you this week? It's from rice water facials to castor oil in navels. It is skin news time. You're going to get to see Alan Hughes' belly button.
You didn't tell me
I'm not going to do that to you, I promise.
The Skinner Jennifer Rock is here with all these latest trends. And
Hello.
Good morning, Jennifer. This first one, 800 million views on TikTok for rice water.
Which I have to let you know, I got up at 4:30 this morning just to make specifically for your beautiful face. So essentially, you make rice as you're about to cook for your dinner or your lunch or whatever, and then you strain it twice. I say this like I'm a connoisseur in the kitchen. I am not. But for the view of beauty, I did it. So essentially, it's the water that's left after the rice that you then put in as a toner, or you can use it as a cleanser or as a spritz, which is how I've decanted it in here today. So essentially, there's an enzyme in rice. It's a Japanese, a Korean concept. It's an Asian concept whereby it's anti-inflammatory.
Does it depend on the rice? Say if you buy the cheapest style rice in a supermarket, or you can buy a really expensive rice.
I'd say, starch though will have an effect, right?
So essentially the premise is that it's hydrating, it's anti-inflammatory, it's cooling and it brightens. So anyone that's done trials on it, and it's huge on TikTok as you say, so essentially because it dates back for centuries, there's no denying that it does have hydrating benefits. My reluctance with it is I don't know if I've cooked it properly, so I'm just going to put that out there, Alan. Secondly, when you use it, so for example, it's in this bottle here, this is only active, if you will, for 2 days and then bacteria could harbour. So this is where I probably tend to lean not so much on the DIY element, but more so purchase skincare, not because I want people to buy products, but it's just that it's stable, it's hygienic, it's molecular tested.
Yeah.
So this is going to go on your beautiful face, but it's literally rice water, because the enzyme's in it, it hydrates and it's cooling and
how are you meant to use it? Are you meant to use it in the morning when you wake up? At night time, what are you meant to do?
As many times as you want throughout the day. Like you can't do too much with it, to be honest. So example, in the morning time, cleanse, spritz. So this is why I popped it into a
just
spritz.
spray it on. Yeah.
So it's literally just nice and cooling, very hydrating.
It's nice and
you
cooling,
keep it in the fridge, So essentially, the main ingredient in it is gamma or xanol.
Yeah. So
Oryzanol,
there's nothing going to harm you with that.
Nothing's going to harm you, but I wouldn't be expecting miracles from it.
Sorry, just stop breaking into song there.
A lot of people report it helps with redness and hydration. So.
Redness, hydration, and I know people use it on their hair as well. They're using it on scalp to kind of do it for hydration there.
Absolutely, and then castor oil, as you know, is definitely a huge one for hair. There has been so much noise around castor oil for the hair and for the body, for the skin, for the body.
It's like 950 million views for how you use castor oil. Is this the castor oil I think it is, cooking castor oil?
Yeah, exactly. So castor oil, essentially, it's something that we tend to have in the kitchen press at home, or that we tend to use. It comes from the castor oil plant. It grows in South Africa, it grows in India. It's a fatty acid. So from a topical perspective, applying it as a body moisturiser, there's definitely merit in it. And we know that for coconut oil and lots of different oils, it essentially just hydrates the skin. Where this becomes slightly different is that there's a lot of people saying that it has medical claims, and that's where I think you have to be careful where you get your information from. So for hydration and just sheer hydration, yes, it has merit.
What's the thing in the navel? What's
that
about?
So they're claiming that if you put it on the navel, there's a lot of TikTok
We're just showing videos of all the places people put castor oil.
Now, is that not going to make your hair horribly greasy for days?
So when you get it, so example, this lady's putting on at night time, she's combing it through, she gets up in the morning, she suggests that you put a conditioner on first to really degrease the oil, break down oil, and then you go in with your shampoo and then you condition again. So again, there is merit to say that it will hydrate, it'll lock in moisture, prevents what's called trans-epidermal water loss, that natural moisture that we tend to lose in the winter months.
She's doing our belly button there now.
Now this one is where it gets so this is where it slightly gets in my opinion, slightly blurs the lines of aesthetic and medical. So this is where there's claims that applying it to the belly button will essentially... Come on, Alan. Dun, 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 dun.
The belly button.
But that's where there's medical claims to it that they're essentially saying that it helps with like kind of inflammation or
I've done
pain
everything
or...
on this show now. Muireann O'Connell is...
Why aren't you offering yourself, Muireann O'Connell?
I can't get in with the dress.
It doesn't penetrate.
I never knew I was going to get along with Alan Hughes so much when I was offered this job 3 years that I'd be putting castor oil in your belly button.
So what does this do now? What's this going to do for
that
me?
it helps with period pain, with cramping, with inflammation.
It doesn't matter then. That's I'm the wrong person.
Detoxing. I think this is where you're too careful.
Detoxing.
It can't penetrate into the body. I mean, topical skincare, topical oils just can't. So I would be very reluctant as to what I believe. Will you have a lovely soft belly button later on today? Absolutely. Wash that off and voila. So topical, yes. For believing that it does much more than that, I really would question where you're getting your information.
That's good advice.
They're saying a lot about the umbilical cord and
fibroids, and I'm a walking, talking fibroid myself. Not that I'm giving over my medical life, but it's just no. It's
okay. But it feels nice if you want to try it.
Topically, yes.
Yeah,
it's lovely. And ask Muireann to come around and apply it for you.
Facialist in the making.
Okay, we're moving on to banana skins.
Okay, so I have my beautiful banana that I prepared earlier. I always love to say that. I feel like I'm a true cook or a chef. This has 3 million views on TikTok. Essentially, the premise is, as you have there, you have your banana, and you have different options. You have a banana peel, you have an orange peel, you have a lemon peel. It's essentially, as you were saying earlier, using the skin of a piece of fruit to essentially apply onto the skin. So bananas are known for their antioxidants, their vitamins, their minerals. This is essentially all you have to do, Alan, is just apply the
to me, this sort of does
skin.
make sense because you think there might be something in this.
I don't. So again, back to hydration. Hydration is the quick fix. So ultimately, when you apply, so you wash your face, you apply this all over, and when I say apply, you're literally just rubbing it. Muireann, honestly, that's definitely a new Muireann O'Connell technique. But essentially, just rubbing it across the face. I don't know if they know. Well,
can I turn him into a mummy?
Mask. I mean, I don't know how to.
Just so you rub it on.
Exactly. You kind of just rub over, and you do it for about 5 minutes to make sure you know yourself the kind of texture of the inside of banana, that you leave that on the skin. Leave it on for 15-20 minutes. And I did try it last night. So here I was, Alan, preparing my face with banana, castor oil, and...
Did you find anything?
Hydrated. Definitely hydrated. It's very hard to take you seriously right now, I'm not going to lie. But in terms of anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, getting it on, yes. And they say the riper the banana, the better.
Leave it on for 15 minutes.
And then wash it off with a little bit of banana in your nose.
We'll get there. I'll ease it in a second.
What can we make him do next week, Jennifer?
I have no idea. I'm so sorry.
You're staying around because we're going to be answering some questions.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, you can send some in if you've got any skin-related questions to us. It's WhatsApp. You can voice note as well if you want. 0896 111 111.
And after the break, I don't know what I'm going to get up to because I didn't think I was going to be doing that. But we're going to be eating in the kitchen with Paul Knapp. We'll see in a few minutes.
Soft little belly button.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Oh, sorry.
You're very welcome back.
Now we've got a vegan curry that's not too scary on the spices in the kitchen this morning.
Paul Knapp is here with a Halloween-inspired pumpkin Dopiaza. Good morning.
Is it a Dopiaza?
I don't know. Paul, what is it?
Yep, exactly.
Dopiaza. It's basically a Halloween pumpkin curry, and it's absolutely delicious.
It's delicious, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Oh, God, we're looking at it. We're eating it.
How do we start?
Well, basically, I say these are all around. They're all over the place at the moment. All right. So the smaller ones for the kind of the curry, the better ones. The larger ones are more for the carving and for the decorative and stuff like that because they're more fibrous. Yeah. So you can actually just cut those with the skin on them and roast them if you wanted to as well. Yeah. Okay. So there's a bundle of those. So again, they're all different types. So they've all got different names to them and stuff like that. So all we're going to do is all of the recipe is up on the Ireland AM's Facebook page as well as the Virgin Media One's website. Okay. So what we've got, as I said there, we've picked kind of like the orange and I've picked like the ghost pumpkin as well because there's so many of these that are going around. And again, they're really, really cheap. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of spook it up a little bit. So what we've got is we've got some black beans. We're going to call those kind of like the black beetles and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we're going to like roast our pumpkin flesh. So the first thing we're going to do is I've taken one of these kind of the whiter pumpkins and I've just cubed it. Okay, I just kind of peeled it.
Pumpkin?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it kind of looks a bit like a turnip or something like that.
I thought it was potatoes.
No, absolutely. So all that is
just chop the eyes out and scoop it. So this is obviously for maybe after Halloween when the pumpkins have been used for.
You could do, yeah, absolutely, yep. So once
you're using the
all the
full
guts have been,
pumpkin for this.
absolutely, all the guts have been scooped out. You can actually pick the seeds. You can just kind of just blanch them, and you can roast those as snacks. So all I've done is I've coated the pumpkin and some of the onion in some oil, and all I do is put those in the oven, preheated, 200 degrees for around about 20-25 minutes. They start to brown and caramelise. Okay. So that Dopiaza, okay, that means 2 onions. So we're cooking the onions 2 ways. So we've got them roasted in the oven, and then what we've got here.
Means 2 onions.
Yeah, that's
in what, Italian or something?
No, it's in kind of Central Asian. So Afghan is where the actual dish is in its origins. Okay, so what we got is we've got some diced onions. Okay, they take about 10 minutes to cook down. All right, so what we've done is I just cooked these just during the advert, so they get nice and soft and translucent, and then we can crank the heat up to this. And what we're going to pop in there is we're going to pop in a tablespoon of garlic goes into there. All right, and then we're going to pop in a tablespoonful of ginger. And then once those kind of spices start to hit the pan, and I always think there's nothing nicer than when you walk in, you know pretty much if something like this is, you know you get seduced by those smells of what's to come.
Yeah.
So we would put that in there, and again, what we would do is we would be cooking this again for around about another 5 minutes because we want to introduce all of those flavours. Start to finish from kind of prep to cook, we're talking about 40 minutes. So it isn't like a long dish. And you can actually cook this dish a couple of ways. You can leave this on the stove and cook it with love and attention and keep stirring it. Or you can just chuck it in the oven if you wanted to as well, which is kind of like the way I would do. So we've just popped those in there and we start to cook those down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in our scary spices. Okay, so what we've got is 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of coriander, 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 2 teaspoons of curry powder, and then there's a half a teaspoon of turmeric goes into that, okay? So all those go into there like so.
There's a lot of spices in it.
There's a lot of spices, yeah, and exactly.
Always get that in curry, though, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes we're a bit scared to use spices. You know, we've got those jars, and we're putting like kind of a quarter of a teaspoon or something like that. But just like chuck it in and go mad with them because there's no heat in there as such from the actual, say, like a chilli kind of heat, because there's no chilli that goes into this. And all we do is we just cook that down and we start to cook out those spices again for sort of about 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Just get rid of that bitterness on it. And now we're going to add into it our wet liquids. So what we're doing is we've got about 4 or 5 largish tomatoes that all I've done is I've just literally just diced them up. And I'm going to pop those in there. So it's kind of a tomato-based curry, okay? And we're going to put in there as well is our beetles, our black beetles, or our black beans. They've just been washed and drained.
The beans are beautiful in this.
They give a really kind of earthy taste and kind of bring everything together. And there's sometimes things that you probably wouldn't think of. You think of it in a chilli, but not necessarily in a curry, do you know what I mean? Absolutely, yeah. So then we put our beans into there, okay, like so, and I'm going to put in there some veggie stock. So what we've got is we've got probably about 300 mils of vegetable stock goes into this, okay? And then what we do is to make it kind of like almost that korma creamy kind of rich flavour as well, is I'm putting in there is a container of cream. It's about 150 mils of plant-based creams. That's a dairy-free cream that's gone into there as well because it said there, this is like a vegan or a plant-based dish, all right? So we just put all this in here like so. So it's quite loose at the moment. So we want to cook that and we want to reduce that and we want to reduce that. And also as well, all we're going to do is just give that a little bit of seasoning, okay?
It doesn't need seasoning, does it?
A little bit of salt rather more than anything like that. And like most things, you always want to give them a taste to see where we're at.
Yeah.
We're going to put in there...
And could I leave that now, kind of do that earlier on in the day?
Absolutely, yeah. These are
and just let it slow cook away?
Absolutely, or even like the day before. You know, it's like something like, these are always nicer the next day. They've always got a lot more flavour. And I'm going to pop in there is just 150 grams of spinach, and we're going to put that in there, and we're going to leave that roast away.
What about, the roasted ones you have in the oven?
Okay, so what we've got...
So that's
this is
come.
Absolutely, this is, So what we've got is this is the one that we've done earlier on, so that's what it actually looks like when it's there. And then we've got our roasted, and what happens is these get all kind of caramelised and sticky and sweet and stuff like that, okay? So what we do is we're going to pop those like so into here.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
I have to say, it doesn't look very, like, my kids would be looking at that going, oh, I don't know, but it tastes delicious.
It tastes delicious.
Yeah,
and that's what, So again, it just got in, that goes like so. Just give that a stir in like that. Because this is coming out the oven, it's already hot. As I said to you there, you can cook that in the oven whilst you're cooking your pumpkin and stuff like that. So you can put that in there and you can go off and do other bits and pieces and it frees up your time. Like you said, cook it low and slow as well if you want to do.
And that's done now,
And that is done. And all we're going to do then is you just dish that up with some rice, as we said there.
You cooked your rice in the oven?
Absolutely. I normally always cook it in the oven. Always say is 1 1/3. So 1 part rice to 1 1/3 part liquid. So what that would mean, so if we cooked 300 grams of rice, it will be 400 grams or 400 millilitres of water, or stock, should we say. And all we do then is we just serve this up here. And because we're talking about this is Dopiaza, which is many onions, we've got a sprinkle then of some crispy onions go on the top of that. Also as well, what I've got here is I've got some pickled onions that go on the top of this as well. A little bit of mango chutney, which I gave to you guys as well, just to finish that on the top there. And we can also finish that off with a little bit of coriander. And there we go.
There you go. We put it down here. It's absolutely delicious.
I have to say,
it really is. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
I'm a big fan of slow cooker at the minute, and this is going to be made, no doubt about it. Paul Knapp. It's delicious.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much so much.
Perfect for Halloween.
This morning, we're talking the top trouser trends on the catwalk. Plus, the Skin Nerd will be answering your questions, and Deric's on a spectacular spree at Emerald Park. We're back here in a few minutes. See you then.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Hiya, you're very welcome back to the final hour of Ireland AM. Still to come, we've got skincare rules and a park full of ghouls.
There you go, the skincare nerd Jennifer Rock. She was already here in the last hour, but she's going to be giving us her dermal do's and don'ts. We're asking you for your questions. So Jennifer, what sort of questions have we been getting?
Lots of questions. Dryness, keratosis pilaris, so a lot of people call that their chicken skin on their arms. Not a kind word for yourself. How to really regenerate the skin while you sleep, and we're going to talk about shower gels. I think that's an interesting one too.
Geratermus pilarmus on the chicken skin. I think I have that.
Chicken tikka masala.
Chicken tikka masala on the back. No. What is it called?
What is it? Keratosis pilaris. Say it again, Tommy.
What does it mean? What is it?
Well, figure
we'll find out later on. Okay, keep them guessing, Jennifer. I like it. Now, Alan, you've got the latest trends on the catwalk.
What's this, Tommy? What's wrong with you?
It's kind of like a skin, it's like little dots on your skin, isn't it, Jennifer? Yeah, there you go.
All right. Oh.
That's why he's not been showing off his arms recently, Tommy. Look, he's a lot of long jumpers.
Now, stylist Mandy Marr doesn't have anything like that. We're going to be talking about wide leg trouser trend.
Wide leg trouser trend, and it's all various ways of how you can actually style them, whether it's something a little bit casual like what we've done here with this particular look, and we've got dressier looks as well. But I'm really excited about showing this season's trend. It's wide trousers, they're absolutely a must, and they're really, really flattering as well.
This is gorgeous.
It's stunning. Love this
lovely look there this morning. Looking forward to that. That's coming up a little later on. Now, Deric is keeping it real this morning. What Halloween horrors are we expecting this hour, Deric?
We are having one of those mornings, proper Halloweeny vibes down here just outside Ashburn in County Meath. We have landed in the lab. Professor, what are you concocting up?
I am concocting a transfiguration potion so I can join the tricky trail myself, and we are just about to add the last ingredient. So, stand back everybody and prepare for the last ingredient. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
We'll have lots more for County Meath in the next few moments. Don't go anywhere. Woo! We love that.
I'm telling you, it's amazing what you can do with a light, isn't it?
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates in Virgin Media One.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. We've landed here in the Ghoulish Graveyard in Ashburn in County Meath. We're going to be catching up with some of our new friends a little bit later on this hour at 9:45. So do hang with us for that. Now, we're getting past 9 o'clock here together. Let's take a look weather-wise at how it's shaping up. And in fact, a pretty decent start here in the Royal County. And following all that rain that hit, especially to the southeast, an improved start out there this morning. We are seeing plenty of showers, though. Still hit, it is one of those mornings. Plenty of showers still hit parts of the east into northern areas as well. But elsewhere, some nice bright spells now pulling through into the back end of your breakfast time in those light southeasterly winds. Now, right across it is that mixture of sunshine and showers where rain does hit slightly on the heavy side for a time, but certainly sunshine winning out towards the back end of the day as well. Fresh and cooler in terms of those temps with top values of 10 to 14 degrees. Into tonight then, dry, calm, mostly clear and settled. Some patchy mist, a little taster of fog as well, feeding us away as we work our way into your Wednesday morning. And again, quite cold in terms of those temps with values back to around 2 to 7 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now here in the Ghoulish Graveyard. We'll be back again live at 9:35.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates in Virgin Media One.
Hello. welcome back.
Hi, you're very welcome back. The very best of luck to Deric there. Fair play to him, not getting scared. Looks class, though, down there.
Yeah,
Look forward to catching up later on. Now, we were talking earlier on about this democratic school in Sligo where they the kids set their own rules, set their own boundaries and what they learn.
So can they just come in and say, I'd like to just go over and read on my own for the whole day, and they're allowed to do that?
Do whatever
and
they
they
want.
could be reading, it doesn't matter what they're reading?
No.
Yeah.
Like magazines or like books, whatever else. They can watch YouTube, they can play computer games, whatever they want.
How are they learning?
Well, because they're learning by reading. They're learning by like...
But if you're reading women's magazines all day or some teenage magazines, what are you learning?
The amount of tips I picked up from Sugar and Bliss magazine when I was 15 years old.
Yeah, you're always learning on those. Alan said, not our Alan, but the world is changing, but not that fast. A system like this doesn't really equip students for future adult life.
Amy says the mainstream school system does need to change. It's nice to see a school adopting alternative methods. It would be great to find a middle ground between both systems. The thing is, the oldest of these Sudbury schools, it was in 1921, I think it was, by a British educator when it was set up. So it hasn't really taken hold in a massive way.
No. It's probably not allowed, and because they have to fund themselves as well. So there's a big cost, obviously, the parents, whatever else.
Are they paying?
Yeah,
oh,
they
right.
pay for it for themselves.
And Orla says it sounds like a youth club rather than a school. What are they learning?
But listen, that was interesting that they said, listen, they don't feel that the education system fits everybody. Like, you think there's so many students out there and... You know, it suits a certain student who's very diligent and good at learning and reciting stuff.
But my thing on that, Tommy, is that I think you do need some structure in your life. And if you're going through school like that, what is it teaching you then when you leave that school? Do you expect to go into a workplace then and go, well... I'll just sit over here.
I don't want to do that report.
Yeah, I'll do a bit of work later on, and I'll do things because I was allowed to do this in school.
But you know, the whole saying is like, if you find something that you enjoy doing, you'll never work a day in your life. So if you're learning and getting involved and interested in something at a young age and get passionate about it, say art, for instance, you become a good artist. And then you go into life
say
and
if
that.
you just took the absolute pee out of the school thing and you just didn't learn a thing and you come out and expect, like,
it's not going to suit everyone. It's not going to suit everyone. But if you find something that suits
this is where they're trying to come to the common ground and to see what, because we don't know what can happen. But there have been some studies done from the 1980s. There have been some studies done, and people who have gone through this system have gone on to be very well, because you've got to be a go-getter and get what you want yourself.
And a lot of people failed terribly, which happens in male schools as well.
And we spend how much time giving out about the Leaving Cert here every year?
I know.
Anyway,
thank you for your messages.
Thank you for your text messages, and do get in touch if you want to send some more in. Now, we've also got an amazing competition for rugby fans out there. Of course, Ireland aren't in the final, but if you would like to win a pair of tickets to see this weekend's clash, the Rugby World Cup final between the All Blacks and South Africa at the Rugby World Cup in Paris, then get over to the Ireland AM or Virgin Media Facebook page or Instagram now to find out more.
Can you tell that we thought we were going to be in the final and we got those tickets ages ago?
You wouldn't have got them if we were in it, maybe.
Somebody else would have taken those tickets.
It would be amazing to be at the final.
It's the Ireland AM Facebook or Instagram page, so do check it out, please. And you could be heading to Paris this weekend. It's going to be a cracker of a match.
Yeah, after the break, the Skin Nerd will be back answering your questions.
See you back here shortly.
Hello, welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, we are always inundated with your beauty questions, looking for advice from our Skin Nerd. And luckily, Jennifer Rock is always willing to help here with us this morning. You're back.
Yeah.
So first up, we're talking about Mary. This just came in. She's looking for eye cream recommendations for a 40-year-old.
So first up, I'll always say to look after the face in general with vitamin A. So we always talk about retinoids, retinol. And then around the eye area, it's definitely something to consider that you should use that as your serum. In terms of eye creams, if you're using that as a face serum, I don't believe you need an eye cream per se. That's kind of where I stand on eye creams. So I feel that sometimes they have definitely got benefits, but I'd make sure that I'm cleansing, I'm seruming, and I'm SPFing first and foremost as my first protocol, and then I'd consider an eye cream.
Because you just have to make sure that stuff that you're using is suitable for here.
Exactly.
You can bring it up, right?
Yes.
Can't you? And use it as an eye cream.
Exactly, and especially if you have vitamin A or vitamin C in a product, then that's ideal. It often negates the need to have an extra eye cream, so it means you're not financially spurging on double.
And just see the way you see a 40-year-old, do you recommend that you should buy creams for certain ages? Because if you are getting older, you'll need different types of cream? Or do you?
It changes slightly, it definitely does. So by gender and by decade, it does change slightly. But by and large, we need the same key ingredients regardless. So you need vitamin A, I need vitamin A, whether I'm 20 or 90. So across the board, there's common denominators.
Lovely.
Okay. It seems to be the season for dry skin. Lisa's been in touch, and cracked skin on her feet. It's causing her a lot of pain, and she's wondering, any advice? Oh,
pain.
Yeah,
it
so
must
look,
be really dry and cracked then.
if you think about this time of the year, like whether you're in heels or in your flat feet or you're out and about and you're putting on the central heating and that, there's an awful lot of dryness tends to happen. So that natural moisture we have in our skin tends to evaporate. So it does leave us with quite dry skin. Then you think about the feet, they go through an awful lot. Like my feet definitely do, right? They're in one extreme of a heel or they're flat-footed and so they're out and about. But essentially what you're looking for is an ingredient or a product that will help with the callus. So typically we get dryness on the kind of heel of our foot, as we know, or on the ball of the foot, or sometimes you get it on your toes, and it can be so dry that it actually irritates and itches, and that's where we have our first product of the day. So it's a new enough launch from Muireann. Essentially it's Muireann Urea Pair plus 10% urea foot foam. So let me talk about what urea is first and foremost. It's an ingredient you naturally have within your skin. It's what's part of what we call our natural moisturising factor. So you're putting back into the skin what the skin naturally has, but lifestyle depletes from it. Having it at 10% means that it's quite a potent level, so it really is effective.
Is it a foam? Did you say
it's a foam? Yeah, I put it on my beautiful heels here this morning with my beautiful shoes underneath.
Mine are very bad at the minute.
But it's a little bit of foam, but it's, guys, honestly, immediately hydrating. It gives 48 hours relief. It's got the urea in it, as I spoke, but it's got ceramides.
It's got nothing to do with
No,
weed,
so
is it?
you know,
Okay, sorry, I was just
people
wondering.
always ask, "Oh, good," but it really does give. Get the little hooves out there, Muireann. Get the little hooves out. But really suitable for someone like people that we say, for example, have psoriasis or eczema, or people that are diabetic would have poor sensitivity in their foot and can get a lot of dryness. So definitely, it's a medically safe, dermatologically tested, clinically proven product. And like the stats on it are like 90, 96, 98% people saw a difference.
Okay, well, that's good then.
It's a
Mine
really
are very
high
bad.
one.
Okay, we're going to move on. Paula is dealing with what she calls chicken skin on her arms. You mentioned this just a minute ago. Tommy thinks he has it. She says it can be itchy and flaky. What is it?
Okay, so chicken skin, not the nicest thing to call our body, right? It really isn't. If you think about a poor chicken, it tends to be quite red texture, and that's exactly what we're talking about. So it's called keratosis pilaris. So keratosis pilaris tends to come in the back of the arms, back of the legs, the buttocks more so. Essentially, it's an overproduction of keratin in the skin, and so it traps itself around the hair plug within the hair. So you'll have natural hairs here, and it just swells, so it causes that roughness and it causes redness. Now, interestingly, why statistically, particularly Irish women, we don't like to show our arms is because of our redness. It's not necessarily anything to do with the arm shape, but actually the colour. When you take a photograph, red is the first colour to pick up on camera, so we tend to be quite conscious of redness in this area. So keratosis pilaris, it's genetic, you're predisposed to it. There's no actual cure for it per se, but what you're looking for is a product that most people tend to exfoliate an awful lot. You're actually trying to hydrate whilst exfoliate, which is quite hard to do. So same brand that we were on a moment ago, it's Muireann, but essentially this is their 10% urea lotion, so it's for the body. So this is ideal to put localised on an area, or if you've dry elbows or knees or elbows, knees and toes, knees and toes.
So
but
it's dry
all over
skin
top
relief.
So anyone that, back to what we were saying a moment ago, someone that has psoriasis and itch, dryness, irritation, preparing for putting tan on, dermatologically proven. The lotion is beautiful. Like, it really does have a beautiful fluidity to it. It doesn't have a scent.
Oh,
that's
it is nice.
on purpose, so it
really
doesn't cause irritation.
Oh, it's lovely.
But it's a lovely flow to it. You can use it on all ages. It really is a quick fix. It just allows the skin to feel smooth, supple, and it gives that kind of sheen and iridation, like, you know, that kind of iridescence is the word I'm looking for thereafter. Beautiful body product, really affordable, and you can apply all over.
On those areas, I often use Sally Cleanse, like salicylic acid, to kind of just open up the pores. Is that okay?
Salicylic acid is great and it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's a beta-hydroxy acid, so it'll spiral into the pore. So it'll exfoliate, whereas I suppose the goal with this is that you're giving and taking. So after something like an acid, always give back. With this, it has the urea in it, so it has the exfoliation, the hydration, and the ceramides, so it's locking and exfoliating literally side by side.
Okay, moving on. Melanie has a question here. She's wondering, our skin does regenerate during the night, doesn't it? But can we take anything that might help it?
So I think the goal is, I suppose, look, if you think about it, the ingredient I have here today, magnesium, I personally swear by it. European studies show that we just don't get enough of it in our diet. You get it through your spinach, your leafy veg, and so on and so forth. But from a skincare perspective, magnesium has huge clinical trials behind it to say that it really helps. And back to your question, it helps your skin regenerates at night, and then when you take magnesium at nighttime, you are allowing yourself to sleep better. So that whole word word beauty sleep isn't just have your retinol on, have your, you know, different ingredients on your face. It's actually trying to help yourself inside out. So you'll sleep better, you help regenerate your skin, and then you wake up feeling a lot fresher.
Lovely.
So it does help you to sleep as well, magnesium?
It helps your body and your nervous system to calm and relax.
So do you take them at night or half an hour before you go to bed?
I personally take these around, I go to bed quite late, so I won't tell you the time, but about 2 hours before bedtime.
2 hours?
I generally do, and it's become part of my nighttime regime, so I see this as fundamental as my cleansing and my moisturising, whatever else I might be doing at night. Makes you sleep better, my skin feels better, and you feel the benefit in your, like I'm gymming it at the moment, there's a wedding next year, did you know? Yeah, the magnesium helps with
her wedding.
I'm physically gymming it now, but it really helps your
Right.
body to relax for sure.
Lovely.
And your mind.
Great stuff. Orla says she's always good for cleansing and moisturising her face and putting her money into good skincare products. But when it comes to body washes, she's not too sure what's harmful and what's helpful. Any advice? I'm like that. Whatever's on offer. I'm like, whatever.
And they're usually...
you buy the good stuff for your face and for the rest
and then I'll throw any oil on my body,
But so many people do that, and I always say, we actually have the sentence trademark, the skin is an organ. Like, that's how much I stand by saying that on a daily basis. I don't know how they let me trademark it, but it's the truth. Your skin is an organ from top to toe. So essentially, people tend to go into the supermarket, grab anything that's on the, you know, the discount aisle, and they're usually like luminous colours that have ingredients in it that I put a little question mark beside it. If you get out of the shower and you feel like your skin is psychologically, you feel clean, that's similar to what we say in the face. You don't want to be overwashing. So what you're looking for in a shower gel is something that's vegan, has key ingredients in it that lock in moisture. But a shower gel usually is experiential, right? You get into the shower, you usually get a little bit tired, but it's probably the only time you might have to yourself. And you want something like, smell this, right?
Yeah, because I was just about to say that I would go for the smell. I would love like something that would smell lovely.
I get it. So this is Human and Kind. So essentially, it's a brand that's all about nature. It's cruelty-free. It's vegan. It has a beautiful scent to it. They have another product I don't have with me today, is Souffle Divine.
Their souffle is lovely.
Souffle is delicious.
That's their body moisturiser.
You'd actually almost want to eat it. Like, it's nice and light. It's citrus. So essentially, it's a brand with a conscience. It's all about natural and ethically sourced. But a little bit of this goes such a long way. Really hydrates the skin, locks in moisture. You get out of the shower, you don't feel stripped. You feel really hydrated, but you're absolutely thoroughly washed. Really ideal for sensitive skin, and you can use it for the whole family. Very affordable too.
And you smell lovely as well.
And yeah, that's the orange. They have it in. They come in a grapefruit, comes in apple, comes in different scents. So it's whatever one. You just have that aromatic piece. But yeah, generally really swear by it. Very easy, and it's based on coconut oil, so it's really hydrating on the skin.
Good.
So different to what we spoke about earlier. It's giving back, not just taken away.
I bought a pestle and mortar one recently. Body wash, because I was like, I've spent so much money on products for my face.
You have to start looking after the body.
It doesn't matter. I was treating myself, okay?
Okay, Kim is suffering from redness, is wondering if you could recommend a foundation that would help cover us redness and high colouring in the face.
So I totally understand why you might want to conceal it. And back to what we said earlier, we spoke about keratosis pilaris on the arms, the redness, for example. Red, as we said, is the first colour to come up on camera. So when you're trying to conceal, I understand, because usually it's what you see, it's the first thing you see. So in terms of the answer, I really believe there's lots of foundations that cover. That's the whole point of a foundation or a concealer. But brands that have, like, there's an amazing American brand called Doll 10. They have key ingredients in it. It was created by a cancer survivor. So it's all about camouflaging, but having ingredients that aren't irritating to the skin. That's a great one. Sculpted by Amy, another phenomenal Irish brand. AYU, another Irish brand. They all have phenomenal ingredients.
Why would you have redness and high colouring in the first place?
Oh my goodness, a plethora of reasons.
I have it all around here.
It could be broken capillaries. It could be a medical underlying piece. That's the more kind of a serious aspect to it. But usually it's sun damage, Alan, to be honest. It's an accumulation of years of being out and about. We think of tan as a lovely thing, but years later it tends to manifest as redness.
Yeah.
So,
and as you get older, redness does
comes
increase.
through. It does come through.
Jennifer Rock, the Skin Nerd.
Thank you, guys.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. You'll be able to find Jennifer, of course, on Instagram afterwards. Still to come, it's all about trousers on the catwalk.
Plus, Deric's exploring the terrors in Emerald Park. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you in a few minutes.
That's the screaming.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates in Virgin Media One.
Thank you very much, Stuart. We popped along here to the Scarecrow's Barn. We're going to be catching up with some of our brand new friends, as well as all the gang from St Andrew's Currahan National School. That's all to come at 9:45. Lots of fun on the way. Now, quick look at weather. Still be past 9:30 here together, and you'll be glad to hear it is much more settled in terms of the weather out there today. A lot drier. Still some showers across the eastern and northern spots in those slight southeasterly winds. Now, right across today, in fact, a return, would you believe, to sunshine. So nice bright spells out there this 24th of the month. Still some hit and miss showers, some of them heavy, but elsewhere certainly that sunshine winning out as the day goes on. You'll be glad to hear top values of around 10 to 14 degrees. And then into tonight, mainly dry, calm and set. Patchy mist, a little taster of fog as well into your Wednesday morning, with overnight lows fresher, cooler and chillier, back to 2 to 7 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now. We're heading off to the Freaky Fires. We'll be back again live at 9:45.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media One.
Welcome back. We're learning all about how to style wide leg trousers today.
And the marvellous Mandy Marr is here to show us just how to do it.
Thank
Good morning to you, Mandy.
Good morning to you both. I'm really excited about the fashion this morning.
Are you?
I am, because wide leg trousers, some people can be afraid of them, but they're actually for everybody, and they're very, very flattering as well.
Beautiful.
And this morning we're just showing you different ways you can style them.
All right, let's go to our first model and have a look.
So our first look this morning is from Ivory Lane, which is in Oranmore, and they're also in Castletroy shopping centre in Limerick. But this I'm loving because it's just very different. But it's starting off with the coat, because we know ourselves with the coat, it's a classic camel coat. We see them time and time again. But again, it's a wardrobe staple, and it definitely is very beautiful and very chic.
Yeah, absolutely. Max Mara has been bringing out the same coat for about 70 years. Brilliant.
And it never dates, as we know ourselves. So it's a good investment coat. But again, loving the colour. They have it in black as well.
And then this lovely cardigan.
Yeah, we went with the cardigan for a mixed knit on this, and I'm really loving this. It's very different.
That's very nice.
And it's the volume on the sleeves. It's something a little bit different with that sheer sleeve, with the knit at the front, and of course to give it that little feminine finish. Then we've got these beautiful pearl button details as well.
Very cute.
Really cute. Now you haven't gone overboard with our first look today. You're going, lads, we'll do jeans.
We
all
are.
used to a wide leg jean.
Yeah, a lovely, beautiful wide leg jean, and they're gorgeous in the denim. And again, like that, it has that flare kick at the end. But the styling tip I'm going to give to people that are on the shorter side, like myself, if you're on the shorter side, go for a high-waisted trousers, because it elongates the leg. So shorter people can wear wide leg trousers.
Victoria Beckham.
Absolutely, they're the classic example. Yeah, and they look
They look amazing on her,
really well, but I'm loving these fit, because again, like that, we teamed up with the boots, but you can easily wear these with a pair of trainers, with a pair of flats, or indeed with a stiletto heel if you wanted to as well.
Gorgeous.
Lovely look.
What you've done with the jewellery then is to kind of pick up on what's going on with the car. Oh,
I absolutely have.
Yeah.
So with the jewellery, yeah, we've kept with the jewellery then with just these little beautiful little. They're kind of like a simple earring, as you see, with a pearl. I have a thing about pearls as well. I think pearls are always very feminine, and again, like that, it's very simple. Even as you can see here with this gorgeous little necklace as well, that's matching.
Gorgeous.
Lovely.
With all of them there. So the lovely necklace, the beautiful earrings, and the
bracelet as well. And of course, picking up with the pearl as well on that knit as well.
It's so
it's
lovely.
nice, isn't it? Yeah, I'm loving it, and I'm loving this, because I just think it's very, very chic and classic.
I suppose one thing with that is that I suppose the trousers, you have to get used to sometimes. They don't have to touch the ground as well. It can be kick flare at the ankle.
It sure can be a kick flare at the ankle, absolutely. Now, also to take into consideration that Igna is 6 foot tall as well, so she is quite tall as well. So
there is that.
There's just a note on that one as well.
Lovely. Now, if Two is here today.
Very wintry looking here. We're all ready for the weather.
We are, and this is the different ways of styling. So we're starting off with this lovely little knit. I love these type of knits. I have a load of them because I'm forever outdoors, and I'm always either walking or at the side of a pitch, but I love this. And it's nice and stylish at the same time, because it's a two-tone of the grey silver along with the black as well.
Okay, and the coat?
And the coat then is a real winter coat. It's beautiful. Again, it's a bow mount label, which is a great label for an outdoor coat. It has 2 layerings, but the actual inside layer doesn't come off, just to mention that. And it's that kind of like a kind of like sheer probably panelling in the inside.
Yeah.
Just to give you that extra little warmth.
Little detail, little bit of thing of layering. lovely little detail on it.
Is it
and then
heavy, Mandy?
It isn't. Alan,
Right,
it's
so that's
great.
what's good. It gets nice and light as well.
Because is there anything as bad as a heavy coat? I actually don't. I just don't like heavy coats because they're actually quite uncomfortable to wear as well, and you feel overheated in them. And that's what's nice about something
Well,
like
I suppose
that.
with the panelling as well at the side, they've got that you can get the air. The air goes
They
into them there. So
absolutely
this
can.
lovely jumper.
So a lovely little knit jumper. Again, we're seeing it quite different as well because it has that sheer sleeve as well. Has a little bit of frilling on the shoulder area, but it has a polka dot, as you can see, with the sheer sleeve. And I'm loving it because, again, it's quite stylish and it's bringing the whole look together.
And then the trousers.
No.
And the trousers. I'm loving these.
Now, these don't look too wide leg, are they?
No, they're actually probably not, but they are wide leg, but they're not overpowering wide leg, to be fair. And again, it has a gorgeous little turn up on them. Lovely high waist as well, which is what we wanted to mention because of Iftu's height, and that's what's vital with the high waisting on the styling with these. But I'm loving the fact that we teamed it up with these great loafers. Aren't these just stunning? Very, very different. These are hugely on trend for the season as well. But I'm loving the buckle detail. They're quite dressy. You could easily be great as well with a skirt.
Yeah. The trousers are really cool. They're very classy. Like they're really nice, very French.
on them.
Yeah.
And they have a turn up on them as well.
Gorgeous.
And they are classy. Lovely little pocket detail as well in those.
Okay, let's go to the jewellery.
The jewellery then, again, like that, we kept it quite simple with a simple hoop earring, a chain and a bracelet matching because like that, as we always say, and I always say it time and time again with accessories, there's times where you need to pare back the accessories, keep it quite simple, and that's what we've done with these pieces this morning as well. In the silver, matching up, of course, with the grey and the jumper, it is in gold as well.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
And that's
Thank you,
all from
Iftu.
Ivory Lane in Oranmore and in Limerick.
Very cool trousers. They're really
they're
nice.
aren't they?
Now
Okay, so
Alicia's
we saw
here.
this earlier.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now this I absolutely love.
Stunning.
This is from Aria Boutique in Nice. And it's how, styling of a wide trousers, how do you style them? And we went with the way more relaxed look with this. And that's what I think really works with this gorgeous knit
So you've
jumper.
just thrown a jumper over your shoulder.
Thrown
I'm
it
just
on,
waiting.
thanks. I
I knew
wouldn't
it.
use the word
Throw a
thrown. I
jumper
would have
over
used
your
my
shoulder.
version
You
of
have to
saying
go for it,
styling.
didn't you? Have to go for it.
You know, I mean, give you a little bit of credit here, like, you know. And this is the way we styled it over, just the one shoulder under the arm. This is the way it's being worn on the catwalk, by the way.
Yeah,
But it's nice knit, isn't it? And it's a polo jumper. But again, like that, just adding a little bit of fun, a little bit different with it. But the waistcoat.
Oh, it's beautiful.
We did a theme on waistcoat a couple of weeks ago. The waistcoats are massive this season. I love it. Very, very simple, very chic. But what about these trousers?
I had been very afraid of the pleating because I've got a belly. I don't want to draw any highlight to it. I bought a pair of pleated trousers recently and I love them.
Yeah, and
love
we're
them.
in there, actually, they are great and they are quite flattering. And again, what you're bringing up at a point with that is to watch the silhouette when you're dressing and therefore make sure your top is tucked in.
Yeah,
And
to bring it the right thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I adore this outfit, love the turn up on the ends. We kept it relaxed because we paired it with trainers with this morning, but you could easily put on a gorgeous pair of gold heels with this and go out at night and with a gold clutch bag and a nice jacket over the shoulder and off you go.
That bag is beautiful,
Isn't
really.
it
Sorry,
stunning?
I know we've moved
Yeah,
on, but
no,
that's kind of like a Loave bag. It's beautiful.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
And I'm loving then we got the two-tone of the chain and the earrings on this, which was actually worn recently by Vogue Williams as well. So just to note that we're on style this morning with that. But loving it. But the
She never
bag
gets
is stunning
anything
as well.
There you go.
She never gets
Look
anything
at
wrong.
this.
And then
There's a
for
sparkle.
a bit of sparkle, and this is our final look from Aria as well in Nice. And we decided to go the sparkle and the party theme with this, starting off with the jacket. The jacket, it's a little bit more on the expensive side, you can see that.
$470, yeah, wow.
But it's beautiful and the quality is incredible. But the sleeves, of course, it has that sparkle and detail on the sleeve, mixture of feathers and sequences.
It's a feather and sequences on the...
Oh,
wow,
it's stunning.
okay.
You're smiling at this, Muireann, and you're
very
loving
cool.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it too. It's gorgeous. Really, really different. But the top, then, we decided to keep with the shimmer and go the party season with this. Now, OK, it's not going to be everyone's best friend, the fact it is cropped. But it is beautiful and it's showing off the waist slightly different.
It is, but I also think that we're stuck in these rigid rules of what can be done. You have to be pencil thing to do this. And when you look at people who are in their 20s and 30s and they're going, absolutely not, I'm wearing whatever I want, regardless of what size I am. I love it.
So right. And you're so right. Let's get outside the box with style and try something that's different. It works.
If you feel comfortable, do it.
Look, and it's not that you'd look and think, oh my God, it looks classy and it looks well.
No, it does, yeah.
These
and the trousers are beautifully
and they're
tailored.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and they really are beautifully tailored, Alan. Again, they have a pocket detail. An investment piece. You'll have these black trousers forever. They won't go out of date.
Yeah, that's
and
the
even
point.
with the styling, they won't go out of date. That's what's great about these.
And then this gorgeous bag that it's just real subtle with the whole look.
Doesn't it work really, really well? I'm loving it. It has a crocodile-style bag, little chain, of course, it has the chain strap as well. But again, like that, if you wanted to go as a clutch, you could, but I love the chain, and I think there's a little bit of edge and glamour to it.
And the way you're bringing it in with the earrings.
And then teaming it all off with the earrings then to finish out the full look. Again, like that, picking up the green with the bag, but I think you're ready to party in an outfit like this.
Very cool. What do you think now? Are you happy there?
That's lovely.
Is that lovely?
It's lovely now.
Do you love the jumper?
To just see you going to your party now wearing that.
We do. We're all sorted. So thanks very much.
Beautiful looks. Really gorgeous looks this morning, Mandy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very cool. Now, after the break, Deric, he normally wears a short. He doesn't like a wide leg trousers, does our Deric, does he?
Well, he likes the tighter the better. He's in Emerald Park this morning with some spectacular surprises up his sleeve.
Talk to you in a second.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, it's the most wonderful time of year. And Deric is trying all things terrifying this week in the lead up to Halloween.
I thought you were going to sing that bit. What trick-or-treats have you got in store today, Deric?
Yes, good morning, guys, and welcome down here to Emerald Park here, just outside Ashburn in County Meath. We are having so much fun here. We've landed into the freaky forest. We've got all our brand new friends, and in fact, all the kids from St Andrew's National School for Curraha. Guys, are you having fun here this morning? Yeah! Lots of fun. They're loving it here in the park itself. Niamh Reynolds is with us now. Niamh, I am loving the setup here. It's great for the kids.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's such a really good family fun event. It's running all over the Halloween, starting this Saturday. So it's a tricky trail. The kids get a little map at the start and they get stickers, and they have to find 9 treasures along the trail. So as you can see, some of the guys you've seen the Professor's Lab, the ghoulish graveyard, little spooky treats jump out at you as you'll go along, and at the end of the trail they get a gorgeous little trick-or-treat bag to bring home. So we'd love to see kids in costume for the day, and just come out and enjoy it. We're open all mid-term, and it's included in your ticket price when you come to Emerald Park.
Now, Halloween is such a special time. It's such a fun time as well. Like, we've landed here in the Freaky Forest. As you mentioned, there's so many different parts to the park here as well.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favourites is Hero Yard, all the Halloween hats and the witches' hats. They're just amazing, all the colour.
And at night, I suppose, this is all lit up as well.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, exactly. And you get to go to the Scarecrow's barn, and you get to go to the Vampire's castle. So loads for the kids to see, and you get to interact with the characters as you go along. And I think that's why it's great for all the family and all ages to come. And I suppose when they come to the park as well, they get to see all the animals. And as you walk along here, you see the zoo animals as well, and then all the attractions.
Dracula, one of my favourites, and of course synonymous with Halloween.
Oh, he is amazing. And I suppose when the kids see this guy, they are going to be blown away. And I suppose it's the interaction that they have with all the kids.
Also, we moved on to the ghoulish graveyard. But one of my other favourites, in fact, is the Queen of Hearts.
She's an amazing character. I suppose she's just so interactive with the kids, colour and just fun, and the kids just really enjoy it.
Now, really busy obviously coming up to this time of year, but obviously focusing into next year as well. You've got lots happening here on the ground.
Yeah, 24 is the big year for Emerald Park. We have a huge new land called Tirnanogue and 2 amazing new roller coasters. This is going to be a world stopper, really. We have one roller coaster which is suspended thrill coaster, which is real for the high adrenaline junkies, and then we've something for the family and all the younger kids, which is a boomerang. So really 2024 is a big year, and we hope to see all guests coming that next year.
You know I hate roller coasters.
You're going to be the first man on it. We're going to have you. Don't worry.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Now, we're going to pop over here. We have some light showers coming down because we're going to say hello to some of the guys. Good morning to you, Joe.
Hi.
Good morning. And tell me, you looking forward to Halloween, Joe?
Yeah.
And what's your favourite time? What are you going to do during Halloween?
Go get some candy.
You're going to get some candy, and I believe you're going to dress up as well. What are you going to dress up as?
A inflatable skeleton dinosaur.
You're going to dress up as a skeleton dinosaur?
Yeah.
And you're heading out trick-or-treating?
Yeah. With my next door neighbours.
With your next door neighbours. And what about you, Adam?
So I'm originally from Curraha, but I'll be going down to my nanny's in Ashburn to trick-or-treat.
Oh, great. And what are you dressing up as this Halloween?
A vampire.
A proper vampire?
Yeah.
Did you see the vampire this morning?
Yeah.
Was he proper scary?
Yeah.
He was, yeah. And what about you then, Ava? What are you dressing up for Halloween?
At school I'm going to be this witch, and when we go on holidays to Lanzarote, I'll be Wednesday Addams, because loads of people are going to be Wednesday Addams at school.
Will she not be hot in Lanzarote with all her gear on?
There's not that much. It's like a short sleeve thing with like a short dress.
Oh, so it's kind of Wednesday Addams on holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you heading out trick-or-treating as well?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet, but hopefully you'll get to go out and enjoy the night.
Yeah.
Now, what about you, Queen of Hearts? Pop over to me.
Yeah, well then.
And Queen of Hearts, do you enjoy Halloween? Do you like it? Do you like the fact...
I love Halloween. Oh my gosh, it could be Halloween every day. My gosh, I love getting my nails done for Halloween. You see, there's so many colours, so many stars, so many little things. It's just fantastic.
And I hear you're quite high maintenance.
I mean, I wouldn't say so, but I am Your Highness, you know? So, I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. I think I'm rather average.
What are you going to be doing for the Halloween then?
Oh my gosh, I have loads planned. Well, first of all, loads of people are coming to visit me and they're bringing me loads of gifts. You see, I love gifts, specifically diamonds. So if anyone's thinking of coming, diamonds, okay? Lots of them. What else? Oh, we'll have a few games as well, like bobbing for apples. Oh, I love it, yes. Very fun. I've got loads planned.
Yes, and Helga is over here. We're going to pop over here to Helga. And Helga, I believe it's going to be a very busy time for you.
Oh my God, it's going to be so busy. I work for the Queen and I'm there cleaning all day, all night. It's an absolute mess.
And you're going to have lots of kids calling to your door as well, I believe.
Absolutely. I actually hope not, because kids bring mess and they bring wrappers. I don't want to be cleaning more, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But you are looking forward to it.
A little bit. Like, I hope people come and like leave gifts and like, leave sweets. Like, not the wrappers, but leave the sweets so I can eat them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's going to be a busy for you cleaning the haunted house.
Absolutely.
And we're going to speak finally to the man himself, Dracula.
Welcome, my friends, welcome. Would you like to know a secret why they renamed the park Emerald Park after yours truly, the crowned jewel of the park, everybody?
And of course, a very busy time for you. You look forward to Halloween every year because you're going to be sucking blood.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, I have to say, some of the children that we've had here, very high in calories, sweets and chocolate galore. Oh, I'm going to get the diabetes, so I will. So I think I might be going on the low-carb diet soon. Dear, oh dear.
You look forward to Halloween yourself?
Oh, yes, my favourite time of the year. My favourite time of the year. So many people coming to dress up like myself. And I hear I am your favourite, my friend. Is that true? Excellent. I look forward to styling your hair just like mine, my friend. Yes.
All right, Dracula, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. Niamh, where can we find out more online?
So you can find it at emeraldpark.ie, and we're open this Saturday for the full midterm. And Tricky Trail is open till next Wednesday.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. We're having one of those mornings here for me and all the gang. All the kids here from Currahan National School, St Andrews. Big cheer, guys! Yeah! Have a spooky Halloween! Ooh.
Oh, very dramatic. Go off
very
camera
dramatic.
there for him,
They're
wasn't
doing
it?
great work there. That is brilliant. And they do, in Emerald Park, they do a great thing. Like, they have that and then they set up immediately for Christmas, and they have a massive Christmas thing as well.
Fair
It's
play
great.
to them.
And Deric is going around the country to be spooky all week. Loads of texts
Finding
coming
as
in
many things as he can.
about the Sudbury school that we were in Sligo a little earlier on.
We'll have to do something else on that.
This is
because
about a
there's
school that the sort of the
pupils
the
decide
pupils. I was going to say the patients.
No, the pupils decide what they're going to do. But thank you for all of your messages on that and everything else. On tomorrow's Ireland AM, champion jockey Nita Carberry chats life after retirement and her new children's book.
Plus, Emmerdale's Calvin Fletcher talks farming and family life as part of a new TV show.
And social media star, the lovely Eric Roberts, will be testing the latest TikTok trends. Ireland AM is live right here on Virgin Media 1 and Virgin Media Player from 7 a.m.
Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.